A poor boy stands at the service entrance of a mansion and says, "I can cure you. Just give me your leftovers." The air outside the Whitmore estate smelled like overripe roses and wasted chances. 12. Year: old Isaiah Brooks, shoes scuffed, shirt 2 sizes too big, stood at the service gate with one hand tucked into his pocket and the other holding a crumpled brown bag. The mansion's back door cracked open, and there she was, Evelyn Lancaster, silver hair pulled tight, wheelchair tires freshly polished, clutching a half-eaten steak she was about to toss. He didn't flinch. "I can fix you," Isaiah said calmly. "Just give me what you're throwing out." Evelyn's laugh echoed against marble. "Oh, what is this? Some street preacher's grandson doing miracles for scraps?" Isaiah didn't blink. "You take 3 pills every morning. Yellow, oval-shaped. You cut the second one in half because it makes your vision blur. But your legs still go cold by 3 p.m. Her hand froze over the trash bin. He kept going. "And at night, your ears ring so loud. You turn on the TV just to drown it out." Evelyn's smile cracked. Her fingers gripped the wheelchair's armrest like a lifeline. Then she slammed the door, but not before Isaiah saw it. Fear in her eyes. A flicker of recognition. Not from science. Not from belief. But from somewhere older, deeper. Voiceover. She just made her first mistake. She underestimated 4 generations of wisdom. Evelyn Lancaster had not slept properly in 3 nights. She kept replaying the boy's words like a broken song stuck in her ribs. The way he described her symptoms, the precision, the nerve. That by day, she rolled through her pristine hallways pretending nothing had shifted. By night, she found herself staring at her useless legs, wondering if maybe, just maybe, they were not useless after all. Her assistant, Dana, a sharp woman with a tighter ponytail than Patience, stood in the doorway one morning, holding a file. "I pulled what you asked for. The boy's name is Isaiah Brooks. Lives across the street with his grandmother, Lorraine Brooks. Here's where it gets weird." Evelyn snatched the folder without ceremony. Inside, Lorraine Brooks, aged 72, retired surgical nurse at St. Mercy Regional. Quiet record. But then, one note scribbled in red marker. Terminal diabetes diagnosis, reversed within 18 months. No transplant. No modern protocol. Evelyn tossed the file onto the table like it burned her fingers. "Coincidence," she muttered. "Plenty of misdiagnosis." Dana raised an eyebrow but knew better than to challenge a Lancaster in her own home. Across the street, in a cramped apartment that smelled faintly of camphor and peppermint tea, Isaiah sat on the floor with his back against his grandmother's rocking chair. Lorraine stirred something thick and dark on the stove, mullein leaf and ginger. A cleansing tonic, old as dirt and twice as stubborn. "Her fingers move when she is mad," Isaiah said suddenly. "Twitchy like little sparks." Lorraine did not turn around. "And her legs tense up," he continued, "like they are ready to run, but stuck in a cage her mind built." The spoon paused. "Psychosomatic?" Lorraine asked. "I think so," he said. "But the meds keep her numb. Not just her legs. Her heart." Lorraine exhaled slowly, letting the steam rise with it. "Rich doctors medicate what they do not understand," she said. "But we listen to the soul." Isaiah nodded, eyes tracing the worn pattern in the rug. "There is something else," he added. "She cries when no one is around. Not loud. Just like she is grieving someone who never died." Lorraine set the spoon down. "You are starting to see through things, not just at them." Outside, Evelyn stood at her second-floor window, staring through the blinds at the boy in the apartment. His eyes lifted, as if he felt her gaze. For one split second, they locked eyes across the street. That he smiled. Not kindly, not smugly, but like someone who already knew how this would end. And Evelyn, she backed away from the glass. Later that evening, Dana returned with more details. Lorraine's mother was a root doctor, folk healer from Georgia, used to treat people in the swamps, everything from epilepsy to heartbreak. Evelyn waved a dismissive hand. Stories, swamp superstition, but her remedies worked. Evelyn wheeled herself into the sunroom without another word. Dana lingered in the hallway, staring at the boy's photo. "Still," she whispered, "he knew too much." Back in the Brooks apartment, Isaiah placed a folded paper under his grandmother's mug. On it was a diagram. Evelyn's spine, nerves highlighted, certain pressure points circled. "Do not try to fix her," Lorraine warned. "Guide her. Let her choose the door. Isaiah tucked the drawing away. She does not even believe the door exists. Lorraine smiled. She will. But not before everything around her breaks first. Dr. Aaron Glass had been Evelyn Lancaster's private neurologist for over a decade. Calm, methodical, and loyal. But even he looked hesitant as he set the folder down. I've reviewed every skin twice, Evelyn, he said, avoiding her stare. Your spinal cord is intact. Reflexes are strong. There's no neurological damage. Medically, you should be walking. The room felt too still. No sound, no breeze, just the slow creak of Evelyn's wheelchair as she leaned forward. You're saying this is in my head? She asked Dr. Glass paused. I'm saying you might need to speak with someone. A trauma specialist. A therapist. Her voice was cold. You're calling me a liar. I'm saying your body is holding on to something your mind will not face. The silence snapped like glass. Evelyn slammed her hand on the desk, her knuckles white. Get out. Outside. Storm clouds gathered, but Evelyn stayed frozen in place long after Dr. Glass left. She did not even notice the rain. Across the street, a quiet camera blinked to life in a dusty window. Isaiah watched from behind the curtain, his phone rigged to a makeshift tripod. Every day, he recorded her porch, her hands, her reactions. She grips her wheels when people argue. Isaiah whispered to Lorraine, flipping through the footage. But her legs flinch. They move. Lorraine watched closely. Your eye is sharper than ever. She does not know she is still in there, Isaiah said. But her body remembers. Lorraine took a slow sip of tea, her gaze thoughtful. Trauma will bury itself deep. You can silence the pain, medicate the memory. But truth always wants out. He turned back to the window. Evelyn sat still in her chair, arms crossed, but her foot tapped slowly under her robe, just once. She is terrified, Isaiah said. She is more than that, Lorraine replied. She is trapped. Isaiah frowned. So how do we help her see what no one else ever dared to say? Lorraine placed a hand on his shoulder. Sometimes to heal someone, you have to show them how sick they really are. The boy nodded, understanding what had to come next. The mansion across the street held more than silence now. It held a secret only her body had been screaming for years, and someone finally noticed. Evelyn Lancaster was not used to feeling powerless. That afternoon, as she sat in her study watching Isaiah through the rain-streaked window, something in her chest tightened. Not fear, control slipping from her fingers. The next morning, she made calls. First, to the principal of Isaiah's high school. I'm concerned, she said coolly. One of your students has been watching me, filming me. It's harassment. She did not mention his name directly, only described him well enough that the school administrator hesitated, then promised to look into it. Her next call was to the building's property manager. You're still renting to them? She asked. That woman and her grandson? The one always loitering near my gate. We have no record of any violations, the manager said, caught off guard. Then find some, Evelyn replied. Or I'll move my foundation's money to another development. By the end of the week, Lorraine received a notice. Lease under review. Building rules violated. It was vague but heavy with threat. Isaiah crumpled the letter in his hand. She's trying to ruin us, he said, pacing their small living room. She called the school, said I was harassing her. If I get flagged, I'll lose my scholarship. Everything. Lorraine stayed seated, calm but firm. She's fighting like someone cornered. Isaiah shook his head. I was trying to help. She does not see it that way, Lorraine said. But truth has a strange way of shaking people. He sat down beside her, face in his hands. I thought if she just saw the footage, saw herself move, maybe something would change. Lorraine looked at him for a long time, then began speaking softly. When I was younger than you, I worked in the emergency ward down in Tallahassee. A little boy came in, barely breathing. White doctor on call dismissed it, said it was just asthma. She paused, her eyes distant, but I knew better. Listened to his chest, checked his color. It was heart failure, not asthma. I treated him anyway, behind that doctor's back. Saved his life. Isaiah blinked. What happened? They tried to fire me, Lorraine said, a quiet smile on her face. But the boy's mother wrote the local paper. A white woman. Told the whole town I was the only one who cared enough to listen. The hospital backed down. Isaiah stared. I didn't fight that doctor with anger, Lorraine said. I used his own tools, his own knowledge. I use truth. Isaiah slowly leaned back, thinking hard. She has power, he said. So do you, Lorraine replied. Use it wisely. That night, Isaiah turned on his laptop. The glow lit his face as he typed. Evelyn Lancaster Medical History. Lancaster Foundation. Lawsuits. Patient complaints. He clicked through archived articles, hospital bulletins, board reviews, searching for anything buried. If Evelyn wanted war, she had chosen the wrong opponent. And Isaiah? He was just getting started. Isaiah had never seen so many locked doors on a digital trail. Old newspaper clippings blurred into scanned documents. He clicked through real estate filings, obituaries, nonprofit tax forms, anything connected to Evelyn Lancaster. But something was off. One archived article from decades ago listed her as Evelyn Maynard. A different name. Same eyes, same stern expression. Same woman. He leaned in, reading the caption again. Evelyn Maynard, RN, marries Dr. Martin Lancaster in private ceremony. Maynard, not Lancaster. She had changed her identity, not for fashion or marriage tradition, but completely. Professionally, legally. Buried the name. But why? The deeper Isaiah dug, the stranger it got. He found a sealed report about Dr. Martin Lancaster, her late husband. The man who built the Lancaster Foundation. The man Evelyn always spoke of in pristine memory, almost like a saint. But Martin was not planning to stay. In fact, days before his death, he had met with a lawyer and rewritten his will. Entire sections were removed, entire donations redirected, and then, the very next day, he died. Heart attack, the file said. Isaiah narrowed his eyes. It felt timed, but the real shock came when he traced an old, scanned ledger tucked away in a forgotten database of a local clinic that he almost missed it until he saw the name. Lorraine Brooks, dated over 30 years ago. The notes described a woman in her 70s suffering from late-stage kidney failure. No hospital would take her due to complications and her age, but Lorraine had treated her with natural medicines passed down from her grandmother. Herbal applications, dietary restructuring, something called moonroot compresses. And the patient, Catherine Lancaster, Martin's mother, Evelyn's mother-in-law. Isaiah blinked. There, in faint pencil, recovered within 3 months. Kidney stable. Marked as spontaneous remission in official record. There was even a side note, rewritten later by a hospital board member. Credit assigned to Dr. Martin Lancaster under revised protocol. Isaiah leaned back slowly. So that was it. His family, the Brooks family, had once served the Lancasters not just as domestic help, but as healers, as caretakers. Generations of silent labor. And when Lorraine had saved the woman who gave birth to Martin, they stole the credit. Repackaged it, sanitized the truth, built their legacy on someone else's hands, someone else's medicine, his grandmother's. Evelyn had inherited a legacy of lies. And when truth began to rise through a 17-year-old boy with a camera and a memory, she panicked. She attacked. She wanted silence. But Isaiah was not going to be silent. He was going to show the world exactly what the Lancasters had buried for decades. And this time, every name would be spelled correctly. This time, Isaiah did not sneak through the garden. He walked straight up to the front door of the Lancaster mansion and rang the bell. The same guard from last time opened it. He recognized Isaiah and froze. But Isaiah was not alone. Lorraine stood beside him, proud, silent, a storm behind her eyes. And right behind her was Dr. Nadine Sloan, the very woman who had once lied under oath. They stepped into the grand hallway together. Uninvited but unstoppable, Evelyn was seated in her sunroom, just like always, wrapped in blankets, pretending her legs did not work. But as soon as she saw the three of them, her eyes narrowed. Isaiah placed a small black speaker on the table. I brought guests, he said calmly. In truth, Lorraine did not speak. She simply placed the worn medical folder on the table. Yellowed pages, stamped records, and at the very top, Martin Lancaster's real will, the one he tried to sign just a day before his death. Dr. Sloan stepped forward. I lied, she said quietly, because I was paid to. Evelyn's expression barely moved. That's a serious accusation, Doctor. Dr. Sloan opened her purse and pulled out her phone. Then I suppose you should hear this. Isaiah tapped play. At first, there was only static. Then a voice, clear, sharp, cold. I do not care what the test says, Nadine. You'll mark him as unstable. You'll testify that he was not in his right mind. And in return, you'll get double your usual rate. Evelyn went pale. I never knew he made a backup, Dr. Sloan whispered. Isaiah sent it to me yesterday. Evelyn shook her head. This proves nothing. People edit audio all the time, but Isaiah was already turning on the projector. The room darkened. And then, the screen lit up. Clip after clip played. Evelyn, alone in the hallway, walking smoothly from one room to the next. Evelyn, laughing and twirling in her private study. Evelyn, standing to reach a bottle from the top shelf, then sitting back down as soon as a maid entered. Every moment was time-stamped. Every angle was clear. Dozens of clips gathered over weeks, and in the corner of each one, the glowing blue from Isaiah's lens. Evelyn tried to speak, but her mouth trembled too hard. Her hands gripped the chair, knuckles white. Then, slowly, she collapsed forward, head in her hands. Breathing shaky, Lorraine stepped back. Dr. Sloan stayed silent. Isaiah stood still. Then he spoke. Stand up. Evelyn did not move. I said stand. Her head lifted. And then, slowly, painfully, she rose to her feet. And no cane. No chair. No trembling legs. She stood. Isaiah nodded. Congratulations, he said softly. You're cured. Evelyn's lip quivered, but no sound came. Lorraine turned and walked. Away first, Doctor. Sloan followed. Isaiah stayed one moment longer, looking at the woman who tried to destroy him. Then he walked out the front door, the same door that had once been slammed in his face. But this time, it stayed open behind him. Evelyn Lancaster, once praised as a medical genius, now paraded in handcuffs. Charges stacked high. Insurance fraud, tax evasion, and, most shocking of all, murder. Lorraine's quietly collected analysis had confirmed what many had overlooked. Martin Lancaster had not died of a heart attack. He had been poisoned, and the evidence pointed straight to Evelyn. Her empire did not crumble, it disintegrated. Medical boards revoked her accolades. Private investors pulled their funding. The exclusive clinics with her name carved into marble signs were shuttered overnight. The media, once celebrating her as a symbol of power and precision, now replayed her collapse on every screen. 6 months later, the mansion on Thornhill Avenue bore a new name carved above the front gates. The Lorraine Brooks Healing Center. Where marble once symbolized wealth, it now stood for renewal. Where silence once guarded secrets, voices now shared truth and recovery. Inside those walls, Isaiah walked with purpose. The same boy who had been dismissed as a curious nuisance was now Harvard's youngest medical student, having skipped 2 grades and earned a full scholarship. Not because he exposed Evelyn, but because he reimagined what healing truly meant. Dr. Nadine Sloan had surrendered her license and title, but instead of disappearing in shame, she stayed. Now a full-time volunteer at the center, she helped underserved families access care with dignity. It was her quiet form of penance, and every day, Lorraine made sure it came with humility. Dr. Aaron Glass, however, did not receive such mercy. When the investigations revealed years of dismissed patient cases and overlooked test results, his license was permanently revoked. A man who had built a career on ignoring what did not fit inside textbooks was now no longer welcome in any hospital. And Evelyn? Isaiah visited her once. Not for revenge, not even for closure, but for clarity. She sat in a prison wheelchair, thinner, paler, and truly paralyzed now. Not by the mind, but by a slow internal shutdown the doctors could not explain. Isaiah walked in without guards, stood tall, and looked her in the eye. You were just a child, she whispered, eyes hollow. I did not think you'd matter. Isaiah did not smile. He did not flinch. And you were an adult who chose lies. So I'll ask, you this, who really failed? She said nothing, but he left her with silence. The one thing her empire had always used to hide the truth. Outside, the sky stretched wide and blue. The healing center echoed with children's laughter and elders singing softly in the garden. Lorraine stood at the front gates, watching Isaiah descend the steps like a man twice his age. She tried to destroy him. But in the end, he healed a soul and transformed a system.